Dana.
Let's bring in former Defense Secretary Mark Esper. And I saw you yesterday start talking a little bit about your concern and that he had access to final products. Could you explain that here?
Yeah, like most people, I don't understand why a 21-year-old National Guardsman had access to some of the most highly kept secrets in the United States, and in particular, finished products from the Joint Staff or finished products from the CIA Operations Center. I just don't know why he would have access to those. Frankly, I don't know why the Massachusetts National Guard needs access to those things either.
Fair point on that. We talked about that last hour with the former head of DNI, John Ratcliffe. Just a question on this. We've heard so many experts over the past 24 hours say there must be a need to know. I think we can all agree on that. But if he's working in IT, you go looking for young people when you're looking for people to do coding or to fix your technology. Yeah. There must be a better system before you grant someone access to that. And the question is, what's the solution after you think about this today?
Well, I'm as befuddled as you are. I understand the need for a clearance in order to work on the equipment. That's apparently what he did. He was a communications specialist who set things up. He did IT work. There is a need to have a clearance for that. But there's not a need for him to have access to the information on that system, let alone finished products from the Joint Staff and CIA. And look, I have two immediate concerns right now that we need to find out through the FBI and through the investigators is what is the scope and scale of the release so that we can get a better handle on that and close up everything that's open. And then secondly, why did he do it? And is anybody else involved? That's what we need to know right now. And then we can start kind of closing these doors. DOD has a problem of not just overclassification, but in this case, over-distribution. There's too many people that have access to this information. It should really only be for the highest levels of our government. And we need to get that under control.
So he's doing court in this hour. But the other thing is, not only did he leak the information, that is embarrassing, but we also found out something. Here is call for number 5, Joe Rogan in the Washington Post reporting that the most shocking intel leak reveals new Chinese military advances, including hypersonic missiles. What do we need to know here?
Yeah, look, it's not just embarrassing, but it's damaging. We've hurt our Ukrainian partners with regard to their current operations and possibly their future operations against Russia as they ponder a counteroffensive. We've likely burned our access to the Russian military and Russian intelligence systems that was giving us great insights with regard to where they are today and in the future. And to your reference, Dana, with the Chinese, we may have exposed those sources, at least the techniques as well. And so those are all very damaging, which is why I was kind of surprised that President Biden said yesterday that he didn't see any contemporaneous harm or something like that coming out of this. Mm-hmm. Look, this is very damaging, not just to our operations, but to our relationships with our allies as well.
I should make a point. It was Josh Rogan in the Washington Post, not Joe Rogan, of course, who has his own podcast.
Yeah, I just want to clear up one thing that you said a moment ago about the Air National Guard in Massachusetts. And we put this question to John Ratcliffe last hour. Why is it that way?
Well, sometimes the National Guard, units of the National Guard are called up to perform specific missions at a federal level. I think we need to find out whether this happened in this case. But otherwise, I just don't see the need for the Massachusetts National Guard to have access to finished products. Right? That's the issue I'm concerned with.
They may be sorry for the interruption here. But yeah, just to be clear on this. If Massachusetts has it, the other 49 states have it.
Possibly. That's my concern is, again, finished products like this should only be for the people at the highest levels of the federal government, our combatant commanders in the theater of operations, things like that, not down to the reserves and the Guard and young airmen and young soldiers out there. They just don't have a need to know, and that's the issue. The question is the need to know. And clearly, again, there's over-distribution of these and over-access to this highly classified intelligence.
One thing I also wanted to ask you about is, you said, is anybody else involved? That could be that opens up a range of possibilities, right? And I think there was a lot of skepticism that the government is being fulsome with what we know about this individual, but was this individual being paid by somebody else in order to do this, or what happened to change that? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, on the most dangerous and most concerning end, is there some type of foreign influence that was prodding him or asking him for information? And then you ask yourself, if not that, was there somebody else, another colleague in the unit aware? And then you may have a negligence issue from the chain of command. Was he not properly supervised, or was he given access to information he wasn't or shouldn't have been allowed access to. So I think we got to pull those threads. But I'm most concerned about the most dangerous one now is there some type of outside influence that was involved here? Because we need to track that down quickly and make sure that we close the doors and
really good points. Mark Esper, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
Good to have you on.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.